Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor. I'm sitting here, I get my days mixed up sometimes on the holidays, but you know how it is on Saturdays, we have fun. And if I say it all the time, if you're like me, when this whole XRP thing is over and you cash out or you decide just to get yield on your XRP, that's kind of where I'm thinking right now. I'm going to be looking at things like real estate. So I partnered with these guys that are XRP guys, Gulf of America, XRP.com. This is their little newsletter sign up. You can sign up, and they send out every Friday. They send out an email with some currently listed properties down. They cover basically from Panama City Beach all the way to about Pensacola. It's a long stretch on the Gulf of America there. But you can sign up it's a free email where you just get properties in your inbox every Friday, or you can call them if you're wanting to go look at properties now. You can do that, 850-890-8884, or you can even text them. But I wanted to show you, because I grew up going down there to Panama City Beach. I wanted to show you, this is what's done down there on the beach. This listing here, this is a house. This is an older house. It's listed at $2.495 million. And this is one of those older houses, and you can see in this picture what happens down there is you have a lot of the older houses where the people just have never sold, and a lot of times people buy the old houses. They're all broken down. They just knock them down and they rebuild things like these you see on either side of it. But in this case, this person decided to renovate, or either somebody bought the old house and renovated it instead of knocking it down. So you can see. You're literally oceanfront, and you can see the renovations here. Get past all those little things here. This is the deck. You're right on the beach. You're looking out at the ocean. Here's some bedrooms. Let me see, that's got 3 beds, 4 baths in this one. So they've modernized the entire interior, but I don't think you can get that kind of beachfront out in California. But it's a very nice place right there on the beach. For oceanfront property, that's like extremely reasonable. So anyway, if you want to sign up for their email newsletter, these guys they'll take you all the way down the beach and show you property if you want to see. There's so many different areas down there that it's like nicest beaches in the world. Okay, and that's at Gulf of America, XRP.com. Okay, market's kind of boring. XRP's at 222. I did go in and buy some XRP yesterday morning. It was somewhere, I guess, around this price. With crypto week coming and the genius bill and all that, I've never been more bullish on XRP than I am now. I don't think I'm the only one. Now, this right here is CZ Binance, the guy who used to, I don't think he does now, but he's saying something that I thought when I first saw this, which is that this is the .com thing again, but this time it's bigger, and this time the companies are actually making money, and it's going to be a lot bigger. Like, I believe hundreds of times bigger.
I was like, wow, this technology is going to be bigger than the internet, right? So, and I didn't quite catch on the internet wave. So I was just out of college and kind of in college. And then when Bitcoin came out in 2013, I was like 35. So I was like, well, I'm not going to miss this. So I went all in, quit my job, sold my house, and got into crypto. I think having that strong conviction really helps. This is a technology for money and for anything in the future that needs proof. So anything that needs to be verified, database is great for storage of data, but it cannot be verified easily. Everybody can have their own version of that database, and you have to believe somebody to do that. So this new technology is primed at the time, primed for finance, and we're still looking at the beginning of its adoption in the financial world. So for me, it was like, this is a big technology. I'm not going to miss it. And the next one's going to come 10, 15 years later, which now we see as AI, I think. So it's like one of those three fundamental technologies that I would face in my sort of adult life. So that's kind of the mentality. I think that was important to have that kind of strong conviction, build a platform, etc. Yeah. I was like, wow, this.
Yep, exactly kind of what my thinking was when I saw it. And then to put that in internet terms, here, Tom Lee, he's talking, of course, when he's saying Bitcoin, I'm thinking XRP, but they always frame everything with Bitcoin. But my question, and he's basically saying we're basically at 1996. Well, when the .com happened, Netscape was kind of what set it off, the Netscape IPO. That was 1995. And so he's basically saying we're at 1996 with Bitcoin. Well, Bitcoin has gotten all the media attention to this point. I think that's going to change dramatically. And it's going to change to the utility digital assets like XRP that everything's going to be tokenized on. So if you're in 1996 on Bitcoin, I guess that means you'd be more like in 1993 with XRP.
If you're buying Bitcoin today, it's still early. I don't think it's too late. So if you have zero exposure to Bitcoin and you feel like you missed it, 95% of investors have zero Bitcoin exposure. So you're still way ahead if you're buying Bitcoin today. If you look at Bitcoin wallets, comparing it to the internet, we're back to 1996 levels. Internet went exponential from 1996. So it's still the earliest days. I think Bitcoin is very useful because in the future, we're not going to be able to trust anything because cybersecurity, there's nothing secure anymore. We can sample your voice. I mean, even someone takes our voice, translates into Korean using my voice, you'll never know what's true anymore. So you need to be able to trust a system. The blockchain, the Bitcoin blockchain is the most trusted blockchain. And that's why the United States wants to have 1 million Bitcoin. US companies are buying Bitcoin. Banks will soon carry Bitcoin as collateral. But Ethereum is really important too. Did any of you buy the Circle IPO or own Circle? Circle is a stablecoin, and they just went public 10 days ago at $31. It's now $242.
What is the ticker code?
CRCL.
CRCL.
Circle is a stablecoin. It's the second largest. Stablecoins are being pushed by the United States government. Here's the thing. Circle runs on Ethereum. Stablecoins run on Ethereum. So as stablecoins explode, Ethereum is the backbone for stablecoins. So I think Ethereum is going to make a big comeback as well. So I think those two are useful. And then Solana I like, but it's not nearly as used as Ethereum.
Oh, that's because of regulatory capture. Now, here's this is another clip that I found today from Jack McDonald about he's talking about the state RLUSD and the XRP ledger.
I'll take the second question first. I do think having a multi-chain strategy is critical to stablecoins, right? We're building stablecoins for the future widespread adoption by institutions, and I think the use cases that are obvious today around global payments, for example, around capital markets, et cetera, are only going to expand. And because chains tend to have biases to them or are built for certain purposes, just like the XRP ledger, really purpose-built for payments and tokenization. There are other chains that do other things, right? And so we want to have a stable coin that can serve the needs of different users, whether they're on one chain or another. In terms of the stable coin business more broadly, clearly it's a competitive space. There's stable coins that feels like being issued every day. I go back to utility and I look at the stablecoin landscape, and different stablecoins are targeted really to service different end users. There could be, there's a lot of talk about banks issuing stablecoins. I think of those as really serving an interbank sort of ecosystem where you could be a settlement token within Citigroup, for example, and even a PayPal, focusing on their payments network. There are other stablecoins like ours that have a little bit of a broader remit. And so I think that there will be more stablecoins to come. and some will be specialized in terms of their use case. Others will be more broad, but what they do take advantage of is the underlying technology, which really become programmable money that are more efficient to move, that are more, if they're, particularly if they're regulated, et cetera, can be more transparent and have certain advantages. And so we invite more competition. We think it's going to be good for the industry. It's going to open up more use cases, but there are a lot of differences within the stablecoin issuers.
All right, and then here's a clip that's going around from David Schwartz.
What kind of use cases do you hope we'll start seeing built?
The XRP ledger was purpose-built to solve specific financial use cases with the DEX, issued assets, escrows, forthcoming loans. I think we'll be able to address the major financial use cases through native transactors that, implement the functionality that people need, like loans will be able to be done that way. But
all right, now this is the biggest thing going around right now. Satoshi coming alive. And this is what my concern always was with Bitcoin is, I've told you 1,000 times, if you don't know who owns a million of the Bitcoin, this is why I was always drawn to the XRP ledger, because Ripple was completely transparent about who owns it, where it is, and all that. And if you're going to change the financial system, you've got to have that transparency. Nobody knows who the creator of Bitcoin is, what their plan was, and I've never bought the idea that this person's some libertarian that just didn't want to make any money and just sitting around, whatever. So 14 years ago he vanished. We're now seeing dormant wallets that are 14 years old activating. Some people they think that it's Roger Ver who owns these 80,000 Bitcoin or so. There are some people that are saying that Arthur Brito, who was inactive on X for 14 years, and then he put this picture of a face with no mouth, that it could be him. They're theorizing that it could be him. Now remember this.
I will correct one thing right out of the gates. Ripple did not actually issue XRP. The XRP ledger is an open source, decentralized technology, not dissimilar to Bitcoin. And some of the creators of the XRP ledger actually had been early engineers that worked on Bitcoin, and they saw some of the scalability problems that Bitcoin was likely to have, the speed, both from a energy consumption, cost, some of the other problems, and they wanted to build a better digital asset to solve some of these problems.
Okay, and then there was this. This was David Schwartz in the Ripple SEC lawsuit. You also say we control a lot of XRP. Does that also make it different from Bitcoin at this time? Well, the distribution of Bitcoin, it was very hard to know at the time. So Satoshi, the original creator, probably held an enormous amount of XRP at that time. 2017, I think so. It's hard for me to say. Like to compare them. So I've always wondered how would he know that Satoshi had a lot of XRP? And then this was going around. Here's David Schwartz, me in 2012. Bitcoin miner is the shirt he's got on. Mystery Whale is allegedly an old miner who holds 161,326 Bitcoin. He keeps sending Bitcoin to new addresses in $10,000 Bitcoin batches. Then this guy says the coins are Sir John McAfee's. That would be quite the twist, wouldn't it? Also wanted to cover this. Somebody asked Charles Hoskinson, what do you think will be the market cap of Midnight's Night token when it launches? Charles Hoskinson said greater than 10 billion. And XRP holders are getting an allotment of those tokens. I just don't know. I think I've asked Grok before, and maybe I showed it in the group. But today in the group, we're going to talk more about this mysterious Satoshi and some tie-ins with Ripple and things, a lot of things you may have not ever seen before. You'll find it quite interesting. And there's one question that is never asked on social media, and I'll ask you the question around Ripple's, Bitcoin, all this stuff. Go to daixrp.com to join through the Patreon, or you can click join below any of my YouTube videos, or you can subscribe through the X platform. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, tell your friends and family. Away we go.